you know, change is just a word if you don't have the strength and experience to actually make it happen.
Senator Obama, to you, let's apply the what we'll call the Giuliani question about having run a city, a state, a payroll. What specifically is your relevant experience for being president?
The experience I have in politics is primarily legislative. But here's the experience that I think the next president needs. I think the next president has to be able to get people to work together to get things done, even when they disagree. And I've done that. You know, when I was in Illinois, we brought police officers and civil rights advocates together to reform a death penalty system that had sent 13 innocent men to death row, and we ended up passing it unanimously, even though originally people had said it couldn't be done. Dennis earlier was talking about the need to work on non-proliferation issues. I've worked with Dick Lugar, Republican spokesperson for the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, to focus on the next generation of non-proliferation efforts. Now, that, I think, is critical experience. I also think it is critical for the next president to have the experience to stand up to special interests. I'm glad Hillary's talking about it, but I'm the only person on this stage who has worked actively just last year, passing, along with Russ Feingold, some of the toughest ethics reforms since Watergate, making sure that lobbyists could not provide gifts and meals to congressmen, making sure that the bundling of monies by lobbyists was disclosed. And finally, I think we've got to have a president who has the experience of standing up even when it's not easy, which is what I did in 2002 when I stood up against this war in Iraq 10 days before the authorization. It is that is the kind of judgment that I'm displaying during this campaign when I go to Detroit and I say to the automakers that they need to raise fuel efficiency standards, not in front of some environmental group. That kind of consistency and principled leadership, I think, is what is going to move us in the next direction. That's what I'll provide as president.
Governor Richardson, though, there was broad disagreement on this panel about you having the only negotiation experience. You did raise your qualifications earlier. Is your contention that, say, the top three frontrunners in this race are less qualified than you are to be president?
No. And I'm positive. You know what I'm hearing here? I'm hearing this holier-than-thou attitude towards Senator Clinton, that it's bothering me because it's pretty close to personal attacks that we don't need. Do we trust her? Do she take money from special interest? We need to be positive in this campaign. Yes, we need to point out our differences, and I have big differences with her over the war. I would get all our troops out. Over No Child Left Behind, I'd get rid of it. I also have differences over Iran. I think that was the wrong vote for her to cast because I think it was saber-rattling. But I think it's important that we save the ammunition for the Republicans. If we continue, I believe, harping on the past and not focusing on the future. Look, the reality on the electability issue is the last senator that was elected president was 40 years ago. His name was John F. Kennedy. We elect governors as president. 7 out of the last 8 have been either governors or ex-governors.